That's what you say.
Guess we should mute, right?
Good morning, everybody.
Morning. Good morning.
Morning, Andrea.
All right, we are
Morning.
live, and you can
Welcome,
proceed when ready.
Sarah and Dawn and any other persons present. That's great. Ron, are you going to stay on with us?
I'll be on and off. It's this early in the morning. I've got about 100 fires going on. So
Okay.
actually, I'm going to have to run up to Bridgepoint because somebody said there's 2 trees getting ready to fall at the back of Bridgepoint. So I got to find out what's going on with that. So
Yes.
I believe it. After that win last night, I wouldn't be surprised if you don't hear some stuff.
Ron, did you get my emails?
I did. We can talk about it when
Yeah.
we meet this morning.
Do you-
Probably be best to go on and do it just to well, we got everybody lined up. So,
yeah, well,
but you can meet with them, and well, I'll be there, and you can tell them exactly what you're after. So
where do you want to start, or where do you want to meet?
we'll meet here at City Hall.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, Ron, for getting us together.
Glad to be back to do it.
Yeah,
We're glad
imagine.
you're back.
We can go ahead with the regular Forestation board agenda as distributed. The first item is approval of minutes. Linda, did you send the minutes out? I didn't particularly see them.
Yeah.
I'm having trouble hearing you.
Last evening.
I saw 'em. I had one thing I wanted to maybe have you change a word on.
Okay.
Okay.
It was under number 3, under declining trees.
Mm-hmm.
Where it says dangling cherry tree branches, maybe put hazard cherry tree branches.
Okay.
Just substitute the word hazard.
Okay.
That might be a little bit better.
Okay. I had just picked up the word dangling from the conversation during the meeting.
No problem.
No problem.
It's a lot to catch.
That would be an amendment to the review.
Okay.
Herb or Connie, did you see anything on the minutes?
Yeah, it looks good. I vote with the amendment. Approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're good. The mayor couldn't join us this morning, so we go and do Andrew's report. So you want to go ahead and start, Andrea?
Okay. Well, I can go on the list that you have on the agenda, which starts with the tree at 6716 Deep Creek Drive. That's a maple tree that's in bad shape. I think, Linda, did you report that tree first?
Yes, it's been failing for several years and it just reached the point of no return.
Yeah. So that probably would, and I looked at it again and I could see that it looks like it's in really bad shape, and I've seen it before when it's during the season. So the board, that might be something the board wants to vote on to.
Do you consider it hazardous at this point, or should we wait and look at it in the spring?
Well, it wouldn't hurt to look at it again in the spring. If it's totally dead, it's totally dead and right on the edge of the road. So, I mean, it wouldn't hurt to have, I could go either way with it, but I think probably due to the fact that cars park right along there, that it probably would be good to notify the resident that it should be removed, be a hazard. The other tree on the list was the address was 67 at 1.
If we stay back on Deep Creek on that maple tree, yeah, why don't we go ahead and have that one?
Send them a letter.
Yes, I
Okay.
think so. If we're going to consider it hazardous or threatening to traffic, we ought to have it removed. So do we have a motion from her, maybe?
Yeah, I'm making a
Remove that
motion that the hazardous tree at 6716 Deep Creek Drive be removed.
It's a maple.
Okay.
Second.
We got a second, all in favor? Aye. I
I,
see there's Sylvia there. Great. Good to see you, Sylvia. Okay.
You also.
Okay, the next address is 6. Are we good with
Andrew,
that?
you want to go ahead on the Gunston Lane trees?
Right. So there was a little bit of confusion about those Gunston Lane trees. One is at the end of the, that's the apartment complex off of on Gunston and that whole area. So the building at 6701 Gunston, at the end of that building, last meeting I reported a dead white pine right up against the end of that building that's overhanging the roof line. It's been dead for quite a while, months and months. And that is one that's a hazard that should be removed. And then yesterday, Lee and I met over in that area just to clarify some confusion about which trees everybody was talking about. And I pointed out to him, and then he sent an email to the property manager evidently yesterday after we met. But there's a large cottonwood tree actually on their property adjacent to a dumpster in the rear parking lot of 6701 Gunston that overhangs their, like I said, overhangs their parking lot, has a huge column of decay all the way up the trunk. It's very precarious because it has heavy branches that come off that decayed trunk leaning over the parking lot. So Lee, that's one I sent out to the board yesterday. I don't know if you all saw it. I sent a picture and a description. And so that tree is definitely a hazard as well. And Lee has already talked to the property manager, I guess, and she said she'd take care of it, Lee?
Yes, that's right. Her name is Belinda Smith. I phoned her after we had viewed the trees and told her what we concluded. And she said she would have both trees taken care of soon. So I don't think at this time we need to send her a letter.
Right. Well, that's good. That's good. You got a hold of her and she responded like that.
Yes, yes.
The next thing on the list is the tree order and the fall planting. I expect any day we'll hear news from Abrams Nursery that the trees are dug. I know they're digging a lot of trees, hundreds and hundreds of them right now. So as soon as we get that word, we can have the planners, Perez and Cortez, call Bud and get the utilities marked for those locations. And proceed as soon as they can schedule, then they can schedule planning. It may be right before Thanksgiving. It could be right after Thanksgiving. It just kind of depends on actually when they're dug and, the planner's schedule. But that they've been told right around either right before or right after Thanksgiving, which will be fine either way. We had one memorial tree that I think most people are aware of that is at Marina View Court. It was on, I don't have that.
That was a canopy tree.
Okay, all right. So we can switch then to, so that would be the city tree order. We can switch to the canopy tree discussion. The canopy tree, we had one canopy tree order for Marina View Court. And that turned out, I'll get you that address. It's 5908 Marina View Court. It turns out that is a very tiny front yard. We had Lee worked with the property owner to have them call Bud just to see if there was any possibility of planting a tree there. And it turns out their little front yard is full of utilities. So we had already approved ordering a tree for that location. So Lee and I talked, and now that it's been dug, we really need to take it. So Lee and I talked about planting it in Cowley Park, and Ron I have a photo of the location, or I could show you today if you want to see it.
And we'll be right there. You can just show it to me.
It's nowhere near any 4th of July or any other activities. It's kind of over to the far, if
Right,
it's
it's the far end of
far left
Holly.
end, like going towards Bottom Hill end of the park.
That should be fine.
So I don't think it'll be a problem for you.
It'll be good to give some shade, some more shade on the walk there.
It's near the start of the walk on that end of the park, and I just thought it would be a kind of a good way to define, okay, we're starting into the park, and there's a tree here on a new tree planted here. So if that's all right with everybody, that's what we'll plan on after Ron looks at it. And then as far as memorial, so we don't have any other canopy trees, right, Lee?
No, there are no canopy trees at this time. We
Okay.
had one other inquire about a canopy tree in her work with that person. It turns out the property location was unsuitable for a canopy tree, or the resident didn't want to go ahead. And then we had this one at Marina View Drive, so it's an unsuitable location also. So we have no canopy trees at this time. We have 3 memorial trees to talk about.
Okay, so
I did learn, there was Randy Swan there on Dillard Court. I did learn apparently on the courts, the right of way almost goes up to the pavement of the streets. There's very little area between the property and the actual paved area. So that was the case. She only had one little bitty area, and I know it had to be some utilities. And first of all, she didn't want to plant one there anyway. So, but we'll keep trying.
Can I ask a question real quick about that? It's Sarah. Sorry, I know I don't have
Yeah.
video turned on. For Herb's reference, I was just curious if it would be worth trying to do some research for the program next year about checking with Chris Gorman and seeing if you guys could go with like hey, within 20 feet of the road, or within 25 feet of the road, something that he could be able to look at to see if, because as long as the public is served equal to or greater than the private residents, it still qualifies as being a public service. So, if it's like, hey, this is going to be shade for the tree, the street, I don't know, maybe Andrea could do some kind of like, hey, this tree canopy goes out X number of feet. So if we plant it within X number of feet of the road, it would equate to be a public service in terms of the tree canopy. I wonder if that's something you guys can investigate for next time.
20
And then
feet is a good number.
I think
Sarah.
that's a great idea.
20 feet. Because then maybe that would make more sense when you try this thing again in the spring. If you guys were going to try it, I'm not sure if you all were trying it in the spring or not. And then, because on that sheet, you could get rid of the logic altogether, the logic website, and then just go, hey, within 20 feet, because any homeowner can go out and be like, take their tape measure if they want and eyeball that. I mean, Chris, I'm sure could
Make it easier.
Yeah. Just
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I make a motion for Sarah's idea.
I make a motion, Connie write it up so it can go to Chris Gorman.
So we would have to write a letter again. Herb, you did this, do it again, please. Write a letter to the mayor asking for Chris Gorman's opinion to proceed along the lines that Sarah has outlined. I think that would be great, but we definitely need Chris Gorman's approval.
Yeah. Okay. I'll do a draft and have it ready for the next meeting for people's comments.
Okay. And
I'd
we
kinda
get
get
that,
out.
and then we'll try to get more publicity out for the Canopy Tree Program launch in the spring.
Okay. If we want to go back to the other memorial trees then, so we have the one for the young man in Honey Creek Park. And so that was the Red Point Red Maple. And then we have one for Lee, you'll have to give me her name again, but the lady that called that wants a tree, and we decided we put a location in near the walking path in Putney, near the
But that's,
Putney Lane.
it memorializes, a person by the name of Klondike. And the, Mrs. Davis actually is behind it. They've already paid their money. She's happy to have the board and Andrea select the species and a location. More or less, that has been done. And Andrea, you recommended a Chinese elm. Have we ordered that tree?
No, we have not. I need to get your permission or the board's approval to order that tree. Which I can do today. After this meeting, I can send you out, I can look up, I don't have the cost right now, but I can look it up, and send it out. And if you can give me approval, we should go ahead and get it ordered. Maybe we can get
We
it.
should go ahead and do that. I make a motion to authorize Andrea to order this Chinese elm for the Putney location.
I second it.
All in favor?
Uh,
Okay. The third memorial tree hasn't been committed yet. And I was contacted by Harriet Eberly. She is interested in having not exactly a memorial tree, but a celebratory tree to commemorate her husband's 75th birthday. You know, Todd Eberly was council person and mayor here for several years. And he actually was the one who drove and created the Forestation Board and the regulations or ordinance where we operate under now. And he actually was recognized by the Arbor Day Foundation, invited out to their central location, given a commemorative award at that point several years ago. So Harriet would like a tree in the vicinity of City Hall. Now we have a complication because there's so much work is being done on Little Hunting Creek Park, but we did discuss two locations. One in the front of City Hall where we did have three before, just took out within the last year, or the second one was near the steps. There's a patch of grass in the rear of City Hall. I've talked with Harriet a couple of times. She would prefer the front location. She would accept the rear location. That's kind of where the story stands at this time. I talked with Ron. I'm sorry he had to leave.
I'm back.
Ron was saying that he was in the process of designing or redesigning the front area, and it did not include any trees in his design, which he's still working on.
Actually, to correct
Are you on there, Ron? Great.
Yeah.
You want to comment?
There are trees involved, just not red buds right there. But I do have a spot where there used to be a tree years ago that, as a matter of fact, a red bud was there years ago. So I think I've got somewhere. I'll show it to Andrea this morning and see what she thinks.
So
Okay,
you're saying, Ron, you could put it in the front somehow?
Yep.
Oh,
It won't be up near City Hall in the landscaping right there, but I think a tree worked there quite well before, so I'm pretty sure it'd be a good spot. So
okay. That would be great. I'll tell Harriet that yes, we can go ahead with one in the front. She's just waiting. The price is not an issue. The $300, or if we need to spend a little bit more for the plaque, I'm sure she'd be happy to pay it. And she likes, and she thinks Todd would like the front because that tree could be viewed as they drive by there frequently. So that would be great. So
okay, well, we'll look at it this morning, Lee. I'm gonna
Yes.
meet with Ron at 11, so I can look at it then.
okay, so can we maybe have a motion that pending Andrea's review of the site and selection of the tree, we should go ahead with the Eberly commemorative tree?
I make a motion, we go ahead with the Everly tree. Seconded.
Second, great. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. That's great. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Andrea. That's great.
Lee, can I add one more thing?
Absolutely.
Okay, so, if, the largest size red bud that we need to find out, well, let me look at this, the location for the red bud, and Ron and I can talk about it, and I'll get back with
Sure.
it. But as far as the price for I just looked up the price for the Chinese elm for the
Yes.
memorial tree, and it is 154. We can get slightly bigger trees for the memorial trees because the people are paying $300. So,
$300, right.
so this is a 2 to 2¼ inch tree. It's slightly bigger, and it's 154. And then, the planning would be maybe 125. So you're still under the 300 that they've sent in. So do I have approval to order that one then? The Chinese elm? For
Yes.
$154?
Yeah, we just approved that.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, just want to verify. Okay, that's all I had there. Thank you.
Okay. Andrea, anything else you want to comment on before we go to the next agenda item?
Ron, are you still on?
I am.
Okay. Do you still have on your list with somebody, Greenscapes or somebody, to remove the dead ash or dying ash at the entrance to Bridgepoint on the left, on the exit side as you get closer to 42? I think you told me, I think we talked about that, and you had
Yeah, I
somebody.
think
bring it to
that that is still on the list. Yeah.
And then,
Unfortunately, being off a month and a half,
right.
I'm
No, I know. I
I'm
was,
playing catch up. So,
and then there's a few stumps around that I don't know who does your stump removal, but is it okay if I send you a list of some I've seen? And then when
yeah,
you
that's fine.
can catch them
Hold on,
sometime.
I want to check something real quick.
We
83.
also just while
I
you're
need to, I want to caution you guys, and I know I say it every year, but we are only halfway through the year and haven't hit the spring storm season yet. But we are 83:14. Give me just a second. We need to start watching money. We're down to 14,000
This is for the removal.
on
Yeah.
the tree maintenance.
okay.
Sounds like a lot of money, but
No,
it's not.
no.
So we need to start being a little cautious on spending. So
Ron, sure. Let me ask you something else. Do we need to order, or do you think we have trunk guards that we can plant on these new trees?
probably gonna need to order trunk guards. I think we're down to like scraps.
Yeah. So, is that something you could do, or somebody else needs to do that, or what?
Either or, it doesn't matter. Probably get it done. Be totally honest, you probably get it done faster yourselves. But
Lee, how do you want to handle that?
Well, it's a little awkward because we can't order anything without city approval. We don't have authority to actually spend money.
how many do you need?
Let me, I'll look it up and I'll tell you when we meet at 11. I don't have the tree order right in front of me. I think we probably need probably just because you order in bundles of 5, we probably need to order 20 is what I'm thinking.
How many? I'm sorry, you cut out.
20 probably.
20? Okay.
Yeah.
20 bundles or
I
20?
mean, there's between 15 and 18 roughly trees being planted. I'll have to
Okay.
get you the
So
exact.
20 total, not 20 bundles.
No, 20 total.
Okay.
Good clarification.
I was like, wow.
And then the only other thing, I had one other item, Lee, if I could bring it up that I meant to mention on my report.
Absolutely.
Okay, you and I discussed it yesterday. The homeowners at 7204 Fox Harbor Road were sent, I believe, we discussed them in late summer. And they, at that time, had 2 hazardous ash trees, one of which they took down on their own. And then before the city sent them a letter, I think we need to go back and verify that the city did send them a letter. I believe they did. After they took down one of those two ash trees. But anyway, so then I believe the city sent them a letter saying there was one other ash tree that needed to come down. It's by their mailbox and it's leaning over Fox Harbor Road, and it's half dead and very, very brittle. And
What was the address on that one?
that was 7204 Fox Harbor.
I have the letter probably has not been sent yet. I'm sitting here looking
Okay, all right.
backlog.
Well, I repainted put a dot on the trunk again, and so it'll be ready for you to send the letter whenever you want.
Okay, I'll try to get this. I'm sitting on a backlog of 1, 2,
Sure.
3, 4, 5, about 6 or 7 trees. As soon as I'll try to get these done today, so Rick has them Monday morning.
Okay. All right. Well, that's perfect. That's all I had then. I think for-
Ron, just to clarify, you'll prepare that letter so that it includes 2 ash trees.
No,
just one, just
no,
one.
just
lady.
One's
the
already
only
been
thing on
removed.
the only thing on the sheet is one. While we're
Yeah.
on this, guys, if you could fill out these forms electronically, it would save me a lot of time because I have to go back in and retype everything. And there's really, in this day and age, there's no reason not to be just filling these out via Word and send it to me via Word. Because then all I have to do is click a couple of buttons and send it to Rick. As stands, I've got all of these to type in. And if anybody of y'all have ever seen me type, it's a very slow process.
I know how slow typing. How about, hey, Linda, would you be so kind to do that? I know you've done it in the past.
We can't hear you, Linda.
Please, comfortable with that. I'm happy to help.
That would be great, actually.
Okay.
So when the action procedure would be, the board will have to authorize these removals as we have been doing. Then once they're authorized, you send electronic form requesting removal or notice to the homeowner for removal to Ron.
Linda, I can send you the form. So
I've got the form. If
okay.
you send me an updated list of which ones need to be redone electronically.
We'll start from here going forward.
Okay. Sounds
Like I
good.
said, I'll try to get all these in today and give them file numbers, and we'll be good to go.
Ron, that would include. Linda would not need to send you one for the 7204 Fox Harbor Road.
No, I have that one sitting right here.
You already have it. Okay, that's great.
Also, while I'm going, just sent you all an email from an Angela Webster who says that 7611 7609 Tallwood, the dead tree remains and needs to be removed. Why is this even listed?
Yeah, I have that on the list.
See a dead tree there. I don't even see a dead tree. I don't know what they're talking about.
Yes. I talked with Miss Webster a couple of days ago, and just for background, she has a property at 7611 Tallwood Road, and she reported that probably more than a month ago that a person representing a contractor came to her house and said the city of Prospect had ordered a removal of a tree on her property. Of course, we had not done any such thing. And at that time, she said that she had contacted Metro, okay, about this issue. And she reported a couple of days ago that a person from Metro had come out, looked at the tree, and had determined it was actually on the 7609 Tallwood property. And she felt that it was hazardous because it was dropping limbs. Now, none of us have actually seen this tree or contacted the property owner for 7609 Tallwood.
Lee, do you know if it's back on the property? Because I don't see anything in the, like, what I would think would be the easement or the,
I told her that, I just want to add, she said that she felt that her neighbor at the 7609 was now going to act to have that tree that they were concerned about removed, now that the ownership had been determined.
oh, well, maybe they'll handle it then internally.
Yeah. So I put it down as issue resolved, but it may not be. Any comments on this particular item?
Shouldn't we wait to see if she recontacts you?
Huh?
Let's hope that it's resolved between the two neighbors, maybe.
Yeah, yes.
Well, it is interesting, somebody posing that they're a city rep. I guess
Yeah, that's-
one little isolate, normally somebody's trying to take advantage of people. They'll keep going. And if it's more than one person involved, but I think we just keep our ears open, because in case somebody trying to take advantage of people here in the city, we should at least make the law enforcement know about it.
Yes, I asked her about that when this first came up, if she wanted the incident reported to the Prospect Police, and she said no. In fact, I wrote an email on that, and she said since that person purported to be a contractor had not requested any money from her, she didn't feel it would be worthwhile to pursue it any further. And when I talked to her this week, more or less, she said the same thing. She didn't want to get the police involved in it. She felt it was unnecessary at the moment.
Did she give you the name of the contractor just in case?
She did not. And she did not give me the name of the person from Metro either. The
Well,
other, go ahead, Herb.
but I think what Andrew said, just let them work it out. And if it'll appear if they didn't work it out. And then if somebody's running around the town trying to try to do crooked acts, illegal acts, we'll know about that too.
Okay. Now, Ron said that he had distributed an email that Miss Webster had sent today or yesterday.
It was a reply to the Forestation board agenda.
So it says this issue has not been resolved?
Hold on just a
Can you say
second.
more, Ron, about that?
Give me just a second.
Says this issue has not been resolved. The dead tree remains and needs to be removed. I don't know.
Well, Andrew, you're going to be in Prospect at here,
I've looked at it. I don't know what I honestly haven't seen the dead tree. I can look again.
I don't know, Lee, if you want you and I to go up there to meet with her, I can do it.
I mean, we
I
could
think
meet,
that's probably a good idea. What we need to do is actually identify the property owner for the 7609.
We'll just go over and see if there's really a dead tree.
Okay. We can do that.
Can we do it Monday afternoon?
Yes, that's
There-
fine, Herb.
There's
You wanna
the
pick-
email.
Particular time?
I lost you.
I'm looking. How about 2:30?
2:30?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll come by your home.
Oh, we can meet up there in the street, but if you're welcome to come over here too if you want.
Okay, we'll meet at Tallwood.
That's Tallwood. Okay. Monday. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's a good idea, I think. And Andrew, we'll contact you after we determine that there's actually a hazardous looking tree up there.
Okay, can you still hear me?
I
Yes.
can hear you fine.
I lost my connection, video connection, so I didn't know if you could still hear me. I'm trying to get back on. I don't know why.
Says you have low bandwidth.
Huh.
We can hear you good. We can hear you
I
excellent.
haven't moved. I'll just stay here because I'll probably mess it up if I try to do anything else. If you could hear me. Okay,
Yep, we
yeah,
can-
I could probably meet you. Are you gonna meet at 2:30? Is that what you said?
Yep.
Yes.
I'll meet you over there at 2:30. How's that?
All right. That's great, Andrew. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
That's fine. 2:30 Monday at, in front of, 7609, 7611 Tolman.
Yep.
Okay. The other, item I had as a resolved issue was the, situation at 6916 Wyndham. Just to refresh everybody's memory, that's where the property owners took out 3 trees along the street without authorization from the Forestation Board, potentially exposing themselves to a fine of more than $2,000, actually, if we elected to pursue it. But we met with them actually twice. They finally agreed to replace some trees. They planted one, according to Mr. Stobie. Then after Arbor Fest, we had some trees left over. So I called Mr. Stobie and told him, come on over and get a couple more of these trees from Arbor Fest and plant them. And he did. At least he got the trees and he sent us photos of the trees in the containers on his property. So in essence, they have replaced the 3 trees, although only one is in the front, the other 2 are on the side or back. Any comment on it?
But shouldn't we require that they put them out front? I mean, if they take them down from out front, shouldn't they replace them?
Linda, you want to comment on that? You had minutes.
Yeah, I went back and looked at our minutes from when our last conversation with the Stobies was, and what we concluded and approved was that one needed to be in front and the other 2 could be planted as best suited their landscaping.
I think they didn't really have room in the front, to be honest with, I mean, they've had other trees grow up and in and.
What are you calling the front? Are you calling the space between the road and the sidewalk the front, or between the sidewalk and the front of the house the front?
Front yard, I think, just in general. I don't think just between the sidewalk and the street, as I remember.
Well, remember that guy that he was a general or something, and he said he was going to replace the street tree, and we never discovered where he planted it. He planted it someplace in the back.
Right.
I mean, if he did. So I think we need to tell them where they need to plant it. I mean, if we care about that.
Well, I think this is maybe going forward, you can change it, but this issue is kind of all, was decided in a previous meeting. And I think these homeowners now have complied the best they can, haven't they, Lee?
I think it's right. I think the issue is closed at the moment. Maybe we could do a better job when the next incident comes around, which it will.
Yeah.
But
I
I just
wanna
want to say,
commend- I
according
wanna
to the
commend
minutes,
the
he's met his
thinking of-
obligation.
I want to commend the thinking of, since we had the leftover trees that the city paid for, got used in a place that, we wanted them to be placed. So whether they're in the right place or not, at least the trees got planted over in that area. So
Yes.
yeah, we can do better. We always do better. That's what all my teachers always said about me. I could always do better.
Okay, if there's no further comments on those 2 issues, we can go to Arbor Fest review and look for comments on that activity, including from Sarah, who was there for practically the whole time and did a lot of work.
It was a lot
It
of
was
fun.
a great day in Savannah.
Right.
Sorry.
I'm glad Linda thought of having name tags for us. That was important. That was a
Well,
good.
how was it? Okay, since I was the the board member that didn't show because of other activities, how was it? Was
Oh,
it positive?
I think it was great. Don't you all think so?
I think it worked out well. We had stated that the hours were 10 to noon. I got there around 9:30 and there were people waiting. So
Good.
it was kind of a dreary day. I think there were a lot of very positive people interested in the trees. The Matt from Save a Tree came to assist us. He was outstanding, and I think people that attended it were very pleased with the trees and the help that they got from, not only Forestation board members, but from Matt.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have to invite Matt next time. He was
I'm glad
fantastic.
that he worked out for you. He's a good guy.
Oh, yeah. I
I've
mean,
been working with him. He's the guy that is working with Mrs. Helm to remove that ash tree in front of Republic Bank that we've talked about over several meetings, if you recall.
Mm-hmm.
So he recently has gone to work for Save a Tree, Greenhaven Save a Tree. Greenhaven Tree Care sold out to a national company called Save a Tree. And when that happened, Matt came on board with that company, and I've been meeting with him on some other work, and he seems like he's really a good guy. So I'm glad he worked out for you all that day.
oh, he did.
He did a great job, and he's volunteered to come back next year.
Good.
Yes.
That's great.
And actually, I contacted Bob Ray and Lim Walker, and particularly from Lim Walker, they said if we gave them a month's notice, they would probably send somebody next year,
Right.
which would be fine. We might not need them, but that would be fine to have them. They have come in the past. They put on a climbing demonstration one year, several years ago. And at one time, Bob Ray came and brought maybe 3 vehicles, Bob Ray vehicle type of tree service vehicles, and just parked them there in the area so people could see what their capabilities were, and they provided literature, whatnot, etc. So far
Yeah, I think that
not,
they probably both need more notice. So
yeah,
I'm sorry I couldn't be there that time, but I had plans way in advance of that meeting I couldn't change, so, or the Arborfest. Well, that's good. Yeah, we could give them more notice, and hopefully maybe they both could come.
any comment on the number of trees we should order for next year or the hours?
I think the hours were good. I think we could order a few less trees, but I think people liked that they were smaller.
Yes. Well, we distributed ultimately maybe 45 trees, with a couple that Mr. Stobie cooked, and then Connie, you had a neighbor who came and took a couple after the event, and a couple just vanished. So,
Oh,
so when we ended the official time at noon, there were something like 15 trees. I went back twice over the weekend, and the number of trees was steadily decreasing, you might say, and that's good. So
I I did send 2 of my neighbors up there that I saw walking through the neighborhood. I was getting ready to ask if you all would have any thoughts for the future about um, maybe considering 2 days, like still the same time period, so short, but people go home and tell their neighbors, and they're like, "Oh, really? That's happening?" And so I know I had talked to Lee and Linda right before I left and said, "Hey, is it okay if I, go tell a few neighbors?" And so I can't guarantee those are the people for all the trees that remove themselves, but they were at least for a couple of them. So I don't know, maybe just something to consider.
I think that's definitely worth considering. I'm not sure I would reduce the tree count. We took it back quite a bit this year for COVID concerns, and I think there's still a lot of people that really aren't comfortable in going to a lot of things. So I would probably stay with the quantity we have, and if we take it to 2 days, I'm sure that there would be nothing left after that.
Linda, I agree with you. I think we should maintain the counts that we have this year because we already reduced it significantly. Hopefully by next year, the COVID concerns might be a little more reduced because even kids will get vaccinated. So maybe there'll be more people patronizing. So I think we maintain the count. I'm a little concerned about spreading it over a period of 2 days because staffing the program is hard to do. I mean, it was hard to get all the board members to get there. I was out of town. I still am. I'm in England right now. So I don't know that if we spread it over 2 days, that we'll have people volunteer to be there to give out trees. But I think that, you know, if we have leftover trees, like Sarah said, we can still tell people and then maybe have designate a place to put the extra trees and then people can go help themselves or somebody can show up and give somebody a tree if they're interested that way.
You know, in previous years, when we had some extra trees, I mentioned to neighbors, and actually they went down and got them and they planted them at the end of Autumn Hill Court where so many ash trees were removed. So, you know, that word of mouth started to neighbors. I mean, I'd be willing to be involved 2 days. It was rare that I was not here this time, but.
And just as a heads up, one of the Prospect police, which rightfully so, stopped one of the neighbors that went up there and was kind of giving them the what for, which is fine because, you know, a truck comes up to City Hall, backs in, and then, you know, walks up to things. So they had to call me. I didn't get the call. In the end, the officer let them take it, and then I had to call back because he was like, well, I didn't know that that was what the plan was. So it was totally legitimate for him, but I just wanted to pass along that just sending the neighbors up there without a real solid coordination with the police who are up there 24 hours a day was to be rectified for the future, I guess, if that's the avenue to go.
Well, I agree with her. I'll be willing to work 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I can count my husband in it too.
Good.
But maybe in next July or whatever we're planning Arborfest, we can review this about the number of trees and the hours and the number of days.
Hey, Lee.
Yes, sir.
I'm thinking about this letter to the mayor to go to Chris. What year were we made a tree city?
2007, weren't you?
So the ordinance establishing the Forestation Board was passed in December 2007. Then we were pretty active on 2008, and I'm pretty sure we submitted the application to become a tree city at the end of 2008. That's when they require at the end of year that the application has to be distributed or reported to the foundation by the end of December, early January. So you might say we became a tree city in 2008. We were recognized as a tree city for activities in 2008.
Okay. I guess the other question, how many trees do you think that the foundation board's been involved in planting in this fiscal year so far? Or will be, because we got a lot of trees ordered.
Are you asking how many trees we planted or gave away?
Well, I know the giveaway, but the ones, that are being ordered right now, how many of the city trees are being ordered to be planted?
Well, Well, I'll have to look that up for you. It's
I think it was,
between 15 and 18
Is it-
or so, I think.
it's
Okay.
about 15 right now, and I think in the spring, and Andrew, you'd have to look or check. I think we planted 9 in the spring. They were authorized by council. Most of those went on around Colley Park and a couple other medians out on different locations. I think it was about 9. So you could say we planted maybe 24 or 25 trees this year, and we distributed another 45 to 50. Ron was going to try to take any few remaining trees that we had from Arborfest and put them in Harris Creek Park, so we could even add those in. I'm not sure how many he ended up planting, and maybe he's not online right now. But those are pretty close to the numbers, I think.
Yeah, I looked it up. There were 8 planted in the spring, so you're very closely.
Would anybody want to even venture a guess how many trees were removed in Prospect?
A
I
lot.
would have to.
I don't
Well,
know.
that's a question we have to answer for Tree City recertification. How many trees we took out, but I don't have that number right now.
Okay, maybe Monday we can talk about it. Okay, thank you.
Good question, Herb.
Thank you.
Will our December activity will include getting together all the numbers for the Tree City recertification application.
Okay.
And I would remind everybody, be it our board members or even council members that have participated in forestation activities, that we need your hours because they count towards the application as well.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Can we give an
like
city
this?
council persons for attending this meeting and
Yes.
other meetings? Give them
Well,
applause.
we have at least 3 right now. That's
Yeah.
great.
That's fantastic.
They need to put in their hours too, and participating in a meeting like this certainly counts as a contribution hour. And then the Arbor Day Foundation actually imputes a value to every hour and says, well, you guys contributed a very large amount of money when they add up all the hours. You know?
Thank you,
That's
council
what we need
members.
next month, everybody to put in their hours. Okay. The next item, unless anybody else has additional, is when to meet the next time. Our regular meeting, which is the second Tuesday of the month, will be December 7th at 2:00 in the afternoon by Zoom, presumably. Or
WebEx.
any comment on that?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Wait a second. You said the second Tuesday?
Yes.
Well, that's
Mike?
really the 14th.
Yeah. Yeah, my calendar says the 14th is going to be the second.
Okay, we'll make it 14th.
That might be a Honey Creek calendar.
Yeah,
Does
it's
that
a
work for
14.
everybody?
Yeah,
It
that
does.
works for
Works
me.
for me.
Okay.
Sylvia, before we sign off, what is that interesting picture behind you?
Oh, I am in England and I'm in my brother's house, so I believe it's downtown London, I think.
That's London?
Yeah,
That-
I want to say it is. He's not here to tell me, but I think that's what it is.
It is.
Downtown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It is.
That
Yeah.
building is really amazing.
Yeah, it is.
I think you get the award from the longest distance coming to a forestation board meeting.
That's right.
Doesn't it?
Wi-Fi is a good thing.
Yeah, it is. What is it about what time of day is it there?
It's let's see, it's 2:56 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah, 5 hours ahead of Eastern Standard Time.
Thank you.
Thank you for making the effort.
Yeah.
You want a motion to adjourn?
Yes, unless anybody has anything else.
Adjourn,
What time did you all decide on the meeting on the 14th?
2 o'clock.
Been meeting at 2 o'clock. but
Normal time then? All right.
Yeah, the normal time. Any other comment?
No, that's all I have.
All right, so we need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Seconded.
All in favor? Aye. And thanks to all, including our great council members.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Giving.
Doug.
Bye.
See you all. Bye.
See you.
Bye now.